All right, guys. Hey, how's it going today? So, I find myself caught in this fake news um, deal that's been going on the internet. My name's Jay Will. I'm the creator of Fusion Laced Illusions, an alternative website that, in retrospect, I independently own, operate, and manage um, from www.fusionlacedillusions.com. And like I said, I've been caught up in this thing about the fake news, and it's got me a little concerned. So I decided to write up a little thing here to express my opinion about this fake news stuff. So moving along. The usual suspects would be Twitter, Facebook, and Google. And they're declaring that they're taking actions to block and silence activities, which includes comments that some find offensive. But when does that become censorship? Before I began to write the column today, I invested a few minutes with one of my favorite news sites, The Onion. In the science and technology portion of that humor newspaper, the headline, "Horrible Facebook Algorithm Accident Results in Exposure to New Ideas," was standing out. It appeared suitable to this week's headline that Facebook would begin banning what it details as fake news. The reason it appeared suitable is that Facebook, along with Google, has declared a wide variety of measures to cut back on fake news without any real meaning of what they take into account fake. On the other hand, Twitter has declared that it's canceling the accounts of users that the service considers are followers of alt-right ideology. But like Facebook and Google, Twitter doesn't explain how it chooses which users accommodate that description. These activities raise a number of questions that the managers of the websites really have to answer. The primary question is, what precisely represents fake news? If it's that it's a news article that has inaccuracies, then it could mean that Facebook and Google are taking action in opposition to every news source on the internet, if only because they all have mistakes at one time or another. Most websites correct those mistakes, but does making a mistake suggest you're a fake news website? Maybe not. Since one presumes that the objective of most objective news websites is to tell the truth, even if there are mistakes from time to time. So what about obviously fake news websites such as The Onion, which reveals in its function as a purveyor of fake news and in the approach takes satire to new highs? But should it be blocked because it's fake news? All things considered, satire has long honored position in publishing. Satire has had an essential role in public discourse since kings kept court jesters to assist courtiers create a sense of humor. But what about reports being planted that state things such as Pope Francis is endorsing Donald Trump? Is this actually fake news? Are folks truly that gullible? And in the event that they are, could a fake report like that truly influence a U.S. election? Over at Twitter, the issue with unwelcome speech is one that's more associated with online harassment and hate speech. This issue recently appeared when comedian Leslie Jones of Saturday Night Live suffered a barrage of truly awful attacks on Twitter at the hand of one Milo Yiannopoulos, who also is actually an editor of BBart News, a right-wing news site whose CEO at the moment was Steve Bannon, currently on the Trump transition team. You see the issue. It's one thing to safeguard legitimate news outlets from folks or organizations that don't want to shut them down for telling the truth without fear or favor. But what occurs when the folks who works at specific purported news outlets aren't showcasing news, but instead hate? The issue is currently becoming devious. It's simple to propose that folks basically disregard or block the idiots such as Yiannopoulos, and Twitter ultimately did just that. But what occurs when speech becomes uncomfortable because it consists of facts that another individual does not want to hear? Does Twitter then base its blocking or account cancellations on what some don't like, or whether or not the information is the truth? These are difficult inquiries, and it would be uncomplicated to take the approach that all speech is okay because speech is protected, particularly if it's a political speech. But is it? The other day I was called by an old dear colleague who was in tears because her colleagues were in a state of abject panic about what might occur when Donald Trump will become president. These folks were definitely reading anti-Trump fake news and believed it. Is it right to permit noticeable lies to be displayed just because it's political? A week ago, a near relative called me about the election, again in tears because of the election outcome. "How could this happen, Jay?" she inquired. She feared greatly for her future. An additional friend called a few days ago and informed me she was going to purchase a handgun to protect herself when those bad things started to occur. She wasn't certain what those things may be, but she wished to be prepared. Obviously, hate and lies perpetuate some parts of the internet, and obviously some folks don't believe them. This demonstrates the issue that currently exists with almost half of all adults acquiring their news from social media. But is this a reason to begin banning opinions from the internet? And if it is, who decides what should be banned and what should be permitted? And also, is there a method for social media to flag legitimate media after it's been vetted, so users will understand the material that they're reading comes from a source they will be able to believe? Sadly, legitimate media in the United States and elsewhere have a long record of producing their own fake news, beginning in the days of yellow journalism and times when newspapers helped launch wars so they'd have something to cover. The Yao "Remember the Maine" echoes through a century of journalism as a souvenir of just how awful fake news and propaganda can be. Sadly, more than likely, it's very unlikely to ban fake news, hate speech, and personal attacks, all of which have been already around for millennia, without occasionally blocking legitimate news, valid opinions, and oftentimes even the truth. Rather, the best we can do is inspire folks to consume their news from multiple sources. After that, a range of viewpoints mixed with news from folks you know and trust can assist folks weed out what's real and what's questionable. But banning fake news and attempting to purge speech that some might find hurtful is not the answer. The solution instead is to motivate folks to calmly think rationally, to identify junk when they see it and regulate it to the digital waste bin. Fortunately, and I misspelled that word, Fortunately, there is an alternative to Facebook, Google Plus, and Twitter. It's an amazing social media website free of censorship. There are terms of service, but it is generally one of the last frontiers of free expression and supports our First and Second Amendments by permitting folks to buy, sell, trade anything that's illegal, even firearms. Accordingly, if by now you have not established that Facebook and Google are in association with the infected government, then I feel for you. But for the ones who are well advised of the problems, it's high time you converted over to Seeing Life. This is Seeing Life, my friends. That is a shot of Seeing Life. No censorship. Here are some variances you'll discover at Seeing Life. No censorship. Remember, they do have a terms of service that you will need to be used for things like pornography, copyright violations, and defamation. If we get a complaint, we'll investigate. If you are accustomed to the free press design before it's news, we think you'll enjoy Scene.is. No ID needed. Facebook at this point is asking specific folks for their IDs. That goes beyond the pale. You can utilize whatever name you would like at Scene, and no ID is needed. They do not market your data. The truth is they don't even collect it, other than your email so you can obtain notifications. No limitation on the amount of friends you can have. If you're popular enough to get over 5,000 friends, we think that's fantastic. More power to you. Private and secure chat rooms. These are powerfully encrypted, and there's no snooping. Considering Facebook and Google and the way they're going, it's not intending to be a site you desire to remain. Sign up and establish an account at Seeing Life. Right there. That's a good shot for you. That's what you'll see. Seeing Life. There it is. Scene.life. And get away from this obtrusive censorship that they got going on. I've left a couple of links here. One is from the LA Times. LA Times is saying, want to keep fake news out of your news feed? College professor creates a list of sites to avoid. You can look at that at your convenience. There's another one. And this is coming from the New York Times. Google and Facebook take aim at fake news sites. So there you have it, folks. There's something seriously going wrong with our social media now, and now you have a way out. Seeing Life is designed just like Facebook, and it's just doesn't have half the headaches that Facebook, Google, and Twitter have, and it's set up just in the same manner. So if you're like me and you have a concern about this fake news, and if you're posting to Facebook and Google Plus and Twitter, then I would suggest that you seek and find out about this Seeing Life. It's a very good platform, and it's set up just like Facebook. And I think you'll really enjoy what we have to offer here. Thanks so much for watching. Again, I am the creator of Fusion Laced Delusions. My name is J. Will. Visit my site, see my work, join in on this thing that we got going on called free press. All right, that's what it's all about, folks. Your Joe Smo can get online and they can report the news the way that they see it being needed to be reported. So again, thanks so much for watching, and check me out. Have a good day.